Welcome to Dream Rise. Have you ever contemplated the idea that the most formidable hurdle in your life may very well be yourself? This profound thought guides our journey today, a voyage that isn't initiated from the external universe but germinates from the labyrinth of our inner self. Our expedition today is into terrains of self-transformation, a fascinating journey that begins within us and leads us to the highest peaks of self-realization and actualization. As we delve deeper, we come across the low valleys of self-doubt and despair, the high mountain peaks of ambition and aspiration, and the hilly terrains of everyday struggles and accomplishments. This journey is like traversing a landscape where every mountain, every valley, every path, and each obstacle is a reflection of our inner self, our fears, our desires, and ultimately, our potential. Our trusted companion on this journey is a powerful book, The Mountain Is You, penned by the profoundly insightful author Brianna Wiest. Through this extraordinary piece of work, Wiest extends an invitation to face the often disconcerting truth that we can sometimes out to be our own most formidable adversary. She subtly pushes us to acknowledge our self-inflicted limitations, our self-destructive behaviors, and our resistance to the very thought of change. Wiest's book is an exploration of the human psyche, our complex emotions and fears that often hold us hostage, preventing us from realizing our true potential. She encourages us to ponder about the battles we fight. These battles are often with external factors, the world, circumstances, people. But what if the real battle is within? What if the mountains we are trying to conquer are not in the world outside, but in our inner universe? What if the limitations we perceive are not in our circumstances but in our minds? What if the chains that bind us are not of societal expectations but of our own fears? The journey of self-transformation encourages us to stop fighting the external battles and instead turn our attention inwards. It nudges us to focus on comprehending and surpassing our inner obstacles. It prompts us to ask, what if the mountain isn't out there but in here? Would we then be able to scale the peaks that we aspire for? The journey of self-transformation makes us realize that the mountains we have been trying to climb, the peaks we aspire to reach, and the valleys we often find ourselves in are all within us. They're not external entities, but reflections of our own self, our fears, our ambitions, our desires. They're our own creation. It's time to turn our gaze inward and begin the journey of transformation. As we culminate our journey today, we are left with a question to ponder. What if the mountain you've been trying to climb is not out there but within you? Could we then, by understanding and overcoming these self-imposed obstacles, reach our highest peaks? Could we then realize our fullest potential? The Mountain Is You is a profound exploration of self-sabotage and how to overcome it. This book brings to light a truth we often overlook. It encourages us to face an uncomfortable reality. The most significant barriers we encounter in life are often the ones we construct ourselves. It's a story about self-sabotage, about the mountains we build and the power we hold to dismantle them. Imagine a mountain. It's vast, it's intimidating, it's seemingly insurmountable. Now imagine that this mountain is not made of rock and earth, but of fears, doubts, and insecurities. This is the mountain we build within us. It's the mountain of self-sabotage. We pile up our fears, layer our doubts, and cement them with insecurities. We become the architects of our own limitations, erecting barriers that prevent us from reaching our full potential. The core concept of this book is the recognition of this internal mountain. It's about identifying the ways in which we undermine our own success. We do this in a variety of ways, often subconsciously. We might procrastinate, we may have a fear of failure or even a fear of success. We might hold on to past mistakes, allowing them to dictate our future actions. These are all bricks in our self-constructed mountain. But this isn't just a story about the mountains we build, it's also a tale of demolition, of breaking down these self-imposed barriers. It's about understanding that we have the power to overcome the very obstacles that we've placed in our path. It's about courage, resilience, and the inner strength to confront and conquer our own self-sabotage. The Mountain Is You is not just a book, it's a journey, a climb. It's about reaching the summit of self-understanding and from that peak, seeing our lives with newfound clarity. It's about realizing that the real mountain to conquer isn't out there in the world, it's within us. It's our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. And just as we built it, we can also tear it down. Overcoming self-sabotage is about realizing that the mountain you need to conquer is within you. It's about understanding that the greatest journey you'll ever embark on is the one within yourself. And it's a journey worth taking. But how do we identify self-sabotage? It's not always as obvious as we might think. Recognizing self-sabotage is like trying to see the air we breathe. It's everywhere, yet invisible. The first step to seeing it is understanding its many disguises. One of the most common forms of self-sabotage is procrastination. It's the art of delaying or postponing tasks that we know are important. It's like a cunning thief in the night, robbing us of our time and potential. It whispers in our ear, "You can do it tomorrow," but as we all know, tomorrow never comes. Then we have self-doubt, the cruel cousin of procrastination. It's the nagging voice in the back of our minds that says, "You're not good enough, you can't do it." It's a powerful force that can stop us in our tracks, preventing us from taking the first step towards our goals. Negative self-talk is another culprit. It's the internal dialogue that's constantly criticizing and belittling us. It's like a broken record repeating the same destructive phrases over and over again. "You're not smart enough, you're not talented enough, you're not strong enough." This toxic chatter can drown out our dreams and aspirations, leaving us feeling defeated before we even begin. Lastly, there's the fear of failure. This is the invisible wall that keeps us from moving forward. It's the fear of making mistakes, of not being perfect, of being judged or rejected. It's a paralyzing force that can keep us stuck in the same place, preventing us from growing and evolving. These are just a few of the many ways that self-sabotage can manifest in our lives. It's a subtle and sneaky adversary, always lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But the good news is, once we're able to identify these signs of self-sabotage, we can begin to fight back. We can start to dismantle these destructive habits and replace them with empowering ones. We can begin to climb our inner mountain, one step at a time. Identifying these signs of self-sabotage is the first step towards conquering your inner mountain. Now that we've identified self-sabotage, how do we overcome it? This question might seem daunting, but don't worry, the book provides us with some insightful strategies. Firstly, let's talk about cultivating self-awareness. This is the bedrock of overcoming self-sabotage. It's about being honest with yourself, about your strengths, weaknesses, and the patterns that lead you astray. It's about recognizing when you're standing on the edge of that self-made cliff, ready to dive into self-destructive behaviors. It's about catching yourself before you take that plunge and asking, "Why am I doing this? What am I trying to avoid or accomplish?" The beauty of self-awareness is that it pulls you out of autopilot. It allows you to see your actions and choices clearly, to understand their origins and consequences. It's like suddenly realizing you've been driving with a smudged windshield and taking the time to clean it. Suddenly the road ahead becomes clearer and you're less likely to crash. But cultivating self-awareness is just the first step. Now you need to pair it with practicing self-compassion. Often we are our own harshest critics. We berate ourselves for our mistakes, our shortcomings, our failures. But this only fuels the cycle of self-sabotage. When you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, you start to believe it, and then you act in ways that prove it. Practicing self-compassion, on the other hand, is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would extend to a dear friend. It's about recognizing that you're human, and humans make mistakes. It's about giving yourself permission to be imperfect, to stumble, to fall, and then to get back up again. It's about saying to yourself, "Yes, I messed up, but that doesn't define me. I can learn, I can grow, I can do better." Lastly, let's consider setting realistic goals. Self-sabotage often stems from setting goals that are too lofty, too demanding, too unrealistic. When we inevitably fail to meet these impossible standards, we spiral into self-criticism and defeat. But when we set realistic goals, we set ourselves up for success. Realistic goals are achievable, measurable, and within our control. They're not about being the best, they're about being better than we were yesterday. They're not about perfection, they're about progress. And every time we meet these goals, we build self-confidence, we build momentum, and we chip away at that mountain of self-sabotage. So, to overcome self-sabotage, we cultivate self-awareness, we practice self-compassion, and we set realistic goals. It's not an overnight fix, it's a journey. It's a process of self-discovery, self-improvement, and self-love. But with these strategies, you can start to dismantle your inner mountain one rock at a time. Transformation is not easy, but it is powerful. It's a journey that demands courage, resilience, and most importantly, a willingness to confront the self. As we delve into the heart of the book, The Mountain is You, we uncover the profound power of transformation that comes from overcoming self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is often a mountain we craft ourselves, a towering peak of doubts, fears, and insecurities. But the beauty of this mountain is that it's not insurmountable. As we chip away at this mountain piece by piece, we start to witness a transformation within ourselves. This transformation, my friends, is the essence of personal growth. Imagine a seed nestled in the earth. It faces the harshness of the soil, the darkness, the weight, but it doesn't falter. It pushes through, reaching out, growing, transforming. That's what overcoming self-sabotage is like. It's the seed pushing through the soil, the caterpillar morphing into a butterfly, the phoenix rising from its ashes. It's about emerging stronger, more resilient, and more self-aware. But there's more to this transformation. It's not just about personal growth, it's about the ripple effect it creates. When you overcome self-sabotage, you don't just transform yourself, you change the way you view the world, the way you interact with others. You inspire those around you to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery. It's like throwing a pebble into a lake. The ripples spread out, touching everything in their path. And the result? An improved quality of life, a heightened sense of self-esteem, a newfound confidence, a sense of purpose. A life lived not in the shadows of self-doubt, but in the light of self-belief. That's the power of transformation. So remember, your mountain is not a barrier. It's not an obstacle. It's a challenge. It's an opportunity. It's a call to action, a call to transform, a call to conquer. When you conquer your inner mountain, you unlock your full potential. So, what have we learned from The Mountain is You? In our journey through this enlightening book, we've traversed the rocky terrains of self-sabotage, scaled the heights of self-awareness, and stood on the summit of transformation. Each step has taken us deeper into understanding ourselves, highlighting the significance of the mountains we construct within us. Let's take a step back and look at the panorama we've covered. We started by understanding the core concept of the book, which is the metaphor of the mountain. It represents the challenges we face, but more importantly, it symbolizes the internal obstacles we create, the self-sabotage that hinders our progress. We then delved into how to identify self-sabotage. We discussed how this could manifest in different ways, from procrastination and perfectionism to self-doubt and fear of success. Recognizing these signs is the first step towards overcoming them. Once we've identified self-sabotage, the next step is to confront it. We explored various strategies for overcoming self-sabotage, such as challenging our limiting beliefs, practicing self-compassion, and reframing our mindset. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent and patient with ourselves. But overcoming self-sabotage isn't the end of the journey. It's a transformative process that leads to self-awareness and growth. We learned about the power of transformation, how it's not just about changing our behaviors, but also about reshaping our identity and aligning it with our goals and values. This transformative journey isn't easy, and there will be times when we stumble and fall. But as we learned from The Mountain is You, it's not about how many times we fall, but how many times we get back up, dust ourselves off, and continue climbing. Remember, the mountain you have to conquer is not out there, it's within you. Embrace the climb, for it's in this journey that we discover our strength, resilience, and potential. It's in this journey that we become the best versions of ourselves. So keep climbing, keep growing, and keep conquering your mountains. We've explored some deep concepts today, and now it's your turn. This conversation doesn't have to end here. In fact, the beauty of this platform is that it allows us to keep the dialogue going. The theme of self-sabotage is a universal one, and it's likely that many of you have experienced it in some form or another. Perhaps you've read The Mountain is You and have some insights to add, or maybe this is your first encounter with the concept. Either way, we'd love to hear your perspective. Have you identified your own patterns of self-sabotage? How have you worked to overcome them? Or maybe you're still trying to figure it all out. That's perfectly okay too. Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. So what's your inner mountain, and how are you planning to conquer it? Share your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe for more content, and remember, the mountain is you.